My name's Bob Lazar. I'm known for working at a classified base known as S4 out in the Nevada desert near Area 51. And there, we reverse engineered alien spacecraft. And it's changed my life a lot. You know, it's probably changed every aspect of it.
Positive or negative?
Well, for the most part, negative. I mean, it's really difficult to find positive aspects of that. I mean, I'm sure there are some here and there, but most of them were negative.
Would you take it all back and just be Bob the jet car guy and never have done this if you can, or are you glad you had the experience?
Yeah, that's hard to say. I don't know. I think I'd lean towards not, at this point in my life, I'd probably lean towards not saying anything.
You know, what would be your message to a young person now about looking at your story and thinking about the world? What would you say to them?
Just pay attention. Just pay attention. I can't really say much else. The world's a lot different now. The way information is disseminated and the way things are passed around, it's distorted even faster and more now than it used to be. So they've got a rough road ahead if they're trying to cut through the bullshit.
What do you want them to know?
That in the late 1980s, the U.S. government had recovered alien spacecraft, several of them, and the technology in the Nevada desert that they were keeping quiet and analyzing. That's a fact. They don't need my story, but that's all my story was that I was just one of the people working on these craft.
What is the big picture? What is the takeaway of your story after you're gone? You're not a rebel kid with a jet car at Los Alamos today. Today's a different Bob Lazar, right?
Right. What
have we learned? What's the message of your story?
The big thing is the suppression of extremely advanced technology and the suppression of unknown science. That's it. Those two things, to me, is the only thing that's important about what was going on out there. Yeah, there's another civilization, and like I've said before, that's a crime not to tell humanity about that, but that's a separate thing.
Meaning that there is something different in science dramatically that we're not allowed to know?
Right. Right.
That is a true statement.
Yeah, that's a true statement.
The fact that there is another intelligent, technologically advanced civilization, we have some of their objects.
That is really the pinnacle. That there's another civilization in existence that's intelligent that we know about. And we actually have artifacts from them that can operate. So, I mean, that's a big, big deal. But in my mind, there's a lot to deal with that. However, the science and the technology can change us dramatically. It can change the way the entire world operates, the economy, everything. So those stick out in my mind as being critically important.
And we have it.
Oh, we have them. You don't have to believe it, but we do.
And you've seen it.
I've seen it.
And you've touched it.
I've dismantled it. Hey, Jeremy, it's Bob Lazar. Listen, I have something to ask you. Something's really come up that's important. If you would text me and let me know when is a good time to call you. I don't want you to call me. I just need to run something by you. Okay? Thanks. Bye.
All right, so the only record of this is going to be on the audio on this one file, and then this video clip. I'm not going to cut it, I'm going to let it run.
Understood.
Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to encrypt it, and I'm going to put both of those two files into an encrypted thing to not be touched unless we decide it should be touched.
That's fine.
Okay, it'll be on 2 drives, but those 2 files will both be in an encrypted folder. So here's the deal. Did you ever get a piece of element 115 out of Los Alamos?
I don't know how much monitoring they do with me. I'm sure it's virtually none after all this time.
Hold on
the
one
same
second.
thing.
Hold on one second. Let me. Do you have your phone on you?
Yes.
Let's at this point take our phone. Let me just throw them. Let me put them in the ground over there. I'll turn mine off.
I mean, maybe this has been kept from us for a good reason. A lot of people agreed to keep this secret. So, first of all, who am I to upset it? And second of all, who am I to outthink these guys? Maybe they went over all these scenarios already and they know how fucked up everything will be. So there's no guarantee that this revelation is going to make everything great. There's just as much chance it's going to make everything terrible, and I'll be to blame for that.
Everybody knows the story is that you got some element 115 out of Los Alamos. That's public knowledge. Something you said a while back. Do you think that what happened had to do with that?
Where'd I go in there?
Are they trying to shake you down to find the 115 that you said 30 years ago that you got out of the lab? People are going to ask that.
Yeah.
So let's just address that. If you feel comfortable addressing it.
No.
Do you not feel comfortable addressing that?
No, I don't feel comfortable addressing it. Element 115 was what we would call the fuel, what provided the power for the reactor to work.
What happens with gravity and 115?
Element 115 affects gravity. Element 115 produces its own gravitational energy. It had a very specific manufacturing technique. I don't really know how that information came to be. Its code name was LA 1000. That's what it was referred to, off-site. Its purpose was supposed to be, again, this is just a code and deception, was supposed to be an advanced armor. So it's an unusual material, so now we can take it to a national lab. This is LA 1000, classified material. It's a very advanced armor. That takes care of all weird questions. So, you immediately start operating on lies. This fuel is in the form of just a three-dimensional thin triangle, little rounded edges. It's somewhat copper in color, that reddish brownish. The way this is manufactured is really critical. It's not just cut out of a heavy sheet of material. A cylinder of this material is taken. This is machined into a cone. So this is, the outer part is shaved off using a lathe or something like that until you have a three-dimensional cone. Once you have the cone, it's sliced like this. And these slices become that. Now, even this starting piece, a solid cylinder, is not even a solid cylinder. It consists of many discs stacked up. And these are fused together to produce that. And all of these steps are necessary to produce a successful triangle that brings fuel. So actually, if you were to look at how this came to be, this would actually be pieces of all these discs that were cut at unusual angles. Now, apparently, if you don't do all this, that doesn't work. So, unfortunately, that's the extent of my knowledge on this. This makes no sense anywhere but That's what it takes for it to operate. Now, with the alien technology that was present in the craft, it takes that basis, that extra gravitational energy in a small reactor, amplifies it through the equipment there, directs it through the waveguides and archways into the emitters, and allows it to propel the craft and manipulate the gravity wave for whatever use they want.
How can this be true? I don't believe a word of this. Do you expect people to believe this?
No, I'm not going to change anyone's mind. That's not my intention. I'm just relaying the experience, the job that I went through. It is a fantastic thing. It's a fantastic story.
But it's true.
It's true. These crafts came from another, not just another planet, another solar system entirely, extremely far away, and they're here.
How did they turn it on?
The reactor?
Yeah.
The reactor can be turned on or turned off in a lot of different ways. The way Barry showed me, the hemisphere is removed. There's a small tower in the middle. When you put the hemisphere on, the reactor activates. The reactor shuts down. It's load sensing. So if there's no load on the reactor at all, it shuts down. When there's a load present on it, it starts up again.
Load meaning?
You can consider it an electrical load. So although it doesn't necessarily operate electrically, there's no wiring that connects any of the subcomponents together whatsoever. They just have to be in the immediate vicinity. The stuff is borderline magic, and that's essentially where we left it, when I left the project.
Have you ever asked anyone that has any inkling of any idea of where they got them or how they got them?
No, but something must have been said to me from Barry, but it was just too long ago, and I can't quite remember what was said, but it just left a seed in my mind. I think at least one of them was part of an archaeological dig. So it's old. At least one of them is old. I don't know if it was the one I worked on, but I remember something to do with an archaeological dig.
Whoa.
So that means it's not just old, it's ancient.
The